Here, are you there, caller? What's your name? Oh, I can hear me. We're not listening to
Hello?
the phone. Hey, what's your name?
Oh, Professor Metzer. Yes, my name is Michael.
Hello, Michael. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Just to be sure, this is the Network Plus study group for March 21st.
And it's live. I can only be in one place at one time, unfortunately. I haven't figured out that whole cloning thing or working in another type of reality. Unfortunately, it's me and it's live and it's right here, Michael.
Okay, all right. Technology's crazy, so I thought I'd...
I know. Is it live? Who knows? Yes, you are.
All right, well, I do have a question. I know the live stream is over, but, you know, I work in a hospital or a research facility, but anyway, I was working on an issue yesterday, and I don't work in the back end. I don't work in the data center. That's what I'm working toward, but I'm basically just a newbie when it comes to everything. But
okay.
I had a printer. That was having a problem grabbing an IP address or a PIPA address, or from the DHCP server. So it was an OfficeJet 8600 premium.
Okay.
Not the printers I'm used to working with. I'm used to working with the high-end LaserJet printers. But no matter what you would do to this printer, it would grab a 169 IP address. You would restore the defaults. You would even try to manually assign it, but for some reason, it only wanted to grab a 169 IP address. Is there something possibly on the back end of the network that was rejecting that IP? Now, this printer was working in another network, but we had moved these clients to a newer building with a newer network with more security and all the bells and whistles.
Oh, so
is there a possibility that something on the back end with rejecting that MAC address is saying, no, I'm not giving you an IP because you're not in my list, or you're not locked down, or whatever?
What is it with printers? This for those of us that have started on the A+ certification, we know printers is just a constant challenge trying to get these things to work properly. Just hard enough to get them to print, and then, as you just mentioned, hard enough getting them to actually give you an IP address to get these things working as well. I would agree it can be a challenge with this. For those of you that are kind of getting into your Network Plus and working with this, let's first kind of define what we're talking about with the APIPA is the automatic private IP addressing. This is where you've got a device and it has tried to go out to get a DHCP address, and it's tried and it's tried and it's tried, but for some reason, it's not getting any response from any DHCP server, or the DHCP server has decided not to provide it with an address. And you're not quite certain which one of those it is. All you know is that it didn't work getting an automatic address from a DHCP server. So what our machines do is they decide to assign a local, what we call a link local address in the IPv6 world. But it's an address that can at least be used to communicate between other devices on the same subnet who have run into the same problem. And it's assigned an address that's 169.254.0.1 through 169.254.255.254, which is what you're seeing. You're seeing these, and we call them the 169 address. Oh, I got a 169 address. Oh, no. Now, what am I going to do? It's getting it because it is either talk to the DHCP server or send out a DHCP broadcast to try to find one, and either got no response from one, or it was able to communicate with the DHCP server, and the DHCP server sent a response back saying, I don't have an IP address for you. Thank you so much. And then it said, well, I'll just make one myself out of a 169.254.
Yep.
So it's unlikely. It's generally unlikely that the DHCP server is full or other people would be having problems with it. It's more likely that for whatever reason, the printer and where it's plugged in, when it sends the broadcast isn't getting to the DHCP server wherever it happens to be. And in large environments, you probably even have multiple DHCP servers, so that if one was down, at least the other one would still be working and everybody would be getting an IP address. So that's why whenever I start thinking about the problem you're having, and whenever I plug in and I don't get an IP address, first thing I'm checking is cabling and making sure I'm getting a signal. Then I check to see if I'm getting to where the DHCP server is. In fact, in many cases where this is happening, very similar to the question we had earlier in the live stream. It's a VLAN problem. You got put on the wrong VLAN, or the VLAN is misconfigured and it can't find its way back to the rest of the network so that it can then get a DHCP address. And in this case, was it a case where only the printer was the one having the problem and everybody else was working okay?
Yeah, it was only the printer that was having the problem. Now, I did plug a laptop or a computer into that same port, into that same Ethernet cable coming off that same port. Laptop grabbed the DHCP fine. So it was just that particular printer.
Then you are definitely, you've narrowed it down quite nicely. If it's exactly the same cable plugging into that laptop as plugging into the printer, then now your problem is with the printer. And it's probably more than likely that there's a problem with the Ethernet connection on that printer. Maybe it's these office jets and office laser printers. They usually aren't modular. It's usually built into the device. So that may be a problem. It could be that your Ethernet connection has just gone bad and it's not working. And you may want to look at it. Maybe during the move, somebody crammed something into the port and the pins are bent. You may be able to. Yeah, that could have been in their old offices. There were wires going everywhere. So somebody might have tripped over the cable. It could have snagged the. And they were mainly using it for a fax. They barely used it for any kind of networking, but it was plugged into a network port. So that could possibly be it. You never know what's going to happen during a move because there's wires going everywhere. People are unplugging things. The people who move things are unplugging computers, and they are not used to working with computers or understanding there's a tab that you click on that removes the cable from the interface. They're just yanking on things, and you never know what's going to happen. So you've done exactly the right thing for troubleshooting, and I would point to that Ethernet port as being your problem with that one. Okay, will do. Thank you very much, Professor Messer. Good luck with that. Let us know how it goes to and what you find out. Yeah, absolutely. Have a great weekend. All right, you too now. Thank you.